I'm Dr. Steve Mehler, coming back to talk a little bit more about using plant cells to produce biologics. And I have a question. Is Phylloceuticals about to disrupt the $500 billion biologics industry? So imagine if the next blockbuster cancer drug, or the next monoclonal antibody for rheumatoid arthritis, or even the next life-saving veterinary biologic wasn't manufactured in a billion-dollar pharmaceutical plant. Instead, it was grown in a greenhouse. Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly the future companies like Phylloceuticals are working toward. Today, we're exploring why plant-made medicines could become one of the biggest disruptions the biologics industry has seen in decades, and why this technology has implications for both human and, dear to my heart, veterinary medicine. So here's the problem with biologics. To understand why phyloceutical matters here, you have to first understand the problem. Biologics are among the most effective medicines that we've ever developed. Think about monoclonal antibodies that are used to treat cancer and autoimmune disease and Crohn's disease and rheumatoid arthritis and severe asthma. These drugs have transformed medicine, but they're also incredibly expensive. Not because scientists don't know how to make them, but because they're extraordinarily difficult to manufacture. Unlike aspirin or antibiotics, biologics can't simply be mixed together in a chemistry lab. They're complex proteins that have to be produced by living cells. So today, most are manufactured using mammalian cell culture, typically the Chinese hamster ovary or the CHO cell. Now, those cells grow inside enormous stainless steel bioreactors under tightly controlled sterile conditions. Building one manufacturing facility can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Production takes weeks to months, quality control is intense, scaling production is slow, and if contamination occurs, the entire production run may be lost. Those manufacturing costs are one reason many biological drugs cost tens of thousands of dollars per patient each year. Now enter Phylloceuticals. Phylloceuticals believes there's a better way of doing this. Instead of asking mammalian cells to manufacture therapeutic proteins, they ask plant cells to do it. Their mission is very simple: make medicine, use plants. The company says its platform is designed to produce therapeutic proteins that are safer, faster, and less expensive than conventional manufacturing, while expanding global access to biological medicines. That's a very ambitious goal, but the underlying science is not science fiction. Plant molecular farming has been underdeveloped for decades. So how does this technology work? Well, plants naturally manufacture thousands of proteins every day, and scientists can take advantage of that biological machinery. Phylloceuticals describes inserting the DNA sequence for a desired therapeutic protein into plant cells using Agrobacterium, a naturally occurring bacteria that transfers DNA into plants. But once inside, that plant produces that target protein, which is then purified using established pharmaceutical purification methods. So in other words, the plant becomes a living protein factory. The patient isn't treated with plant material, they're treated with a purified biologic manufactured by the plant. So why could this be revolutionary? Well, manufacturing costs. One of Phylloceuticals' biggest claims is economics here. The company states that upstream manufacturing costs could be approximately 1/10 the cost per gram compared with conventional mammalian production for certain applications. If that proves broadly achievable, it changes everything, especially in veterinary medicine. Lower manufacturing costs are going to mean lower drug prices, more biosimilars, greater global access, more affordable veterinary biologics. Also, speed. Traditional biologic manufacturing is a slow process. Growing mammalian cells takes time. Plant cells, they grow remarkably quickly. So Phylloceuticals emphasizes rapid speed to screen capabilities, allowing research to evaluate therapeutic candidates more quickly than traditional systems are going to allow. In an era where AI is designing thousands or even millions of possible therapeutic molecules, rapid screening becomes incredibly valuable. This is where AI meets biology. This may actually be one of the most exciting parts of the story. Artificial intelligence is becoming extraordinarily good at designing new antibodies and proteins. The bottleneck isn't always discovering candidate molecules anymore. It's manufacturing enough of them to test. So Phylloceuticals argues that its plant platform could rapidly produce many AI-generated candidates for screening, potentially accelerating the pace of biological discovery. Think about it. AI designs, plants manufacture, scientists test. That feedback loop could dramatically shorten early-stage drug development. And this goes way beyond human medicine. One aspect that caught my attention is veterinary medicine. The company lists animal health as one of the strategic focus areas alongside biosimilars, novel drugs, and clinical trial support. And why is that important? Because veterinary medicine often struggles with biological affordability. Imagine more access for pet owners to monoclonal antibodies, immune therapies, regenerative proteins, novel vaccines, and precision oncology drugs. Lower production costs can make treatments economically feasible for far more patients and pet owners. National security is another interesting aspect of the company's vision is manufacturing resilience. So Phylloceuticals highlights national security and supply chain resilience as part of its mission, suggesting distributed plant-based production could reduce dependence on centralized manufacturing during the emergency situations like COVID-19 that exposed many vulnerabilities in global pharmaceutical supply chains. So what about the biosimilars? Phylloceuticals appears especially focused on biosimilars. So for listeners unfamiliar with the term, a biosimilar isn't a generic drug. It's biologics. They're too complex to copy exactly. So instead, a biosimilar is designed to be highly similar to an approved biologic with no clinically meaningful differences in safety or effectiveness. So the company says it's got to demonstrate the ability to produce blockbuster biosimilars. So if manufacturers can produce equivalent biologics at substantially lower cost, that could increase competition and improve patient access dramatically around the globe. Let's stay grounded here. Plant-made biologics are incredibly promising. They also face challenges: manufacturing consistency, protein folding, glycosylation, the sugar molecules that attach the proteins that influence how they behave in the body, regulatory approval, and large-scale validation. Every new manufacturing platform has to prove that its medicines meet the same rigorous standards for safety, purity, potency, and consistency required of any biologic. So while the vision is exciting, success ultimately depends on demonstrating equivalent or superior product quality at commercial scale. My final thoughts on this is every once in a while, a manufacturing innovation changes an entire industry forever. Recombinant DNA transformed insulin, and monoclonal antibodies transformed oncology, and mRNA changed vaccine development, and plant-made biologics may become the next chapter here. Now, will every biologic someday be grown in plants? Probably not. Traditional mammalian manufacturing isn't going away. CHO cells aren't being replaced. But if companies like Phylloceuticals can consistently produce high-quality biologics faster and at a dramatically lower cost, the implications are enormous, not just for pharmaceutical companies, but for physicians and veterinarians and entire healthcare systems, and most importantly, patients who currently can't access life-changing biologic therapies because of cost. Sometimes the biggest innovation isn't discovering a new medicine, it's discovering a better way to make it. Keep following me and subscribe for more information on evidence-based veterinary medicine.